Cam McGuire here alongside Steelheads forward Keaton Donato. The Idaho Steelheads on Wednesday night collected their 9th victory of the season, defeating the Allen Americans by a final score of 6-2, and they now sit 9-2 heading into this weekend against Allen. Well, Mastro, thanks for taking some time here today. We'll kind of go a little bit around the world, get your background, where you've played prior to coming to Boise, but we talked after the game on Wednesday night, a nice start after a pretty quick turnaround from that 3-3 weekend in Wheeling.
Yeah, that was obviously a lot of travel, busy week there, going to Wheeling and getting back, and a quick turnaround, as you said, but good to get that first one out of the way, and now just looking forward to Friday night. Shots
on net has been a storyline this year for your team. 58 shots on Wednesday night, and you're a player that likes to shoot the puck. We've seen that. I think you got 47 shots now through the first 11 games, second amongst all skaters. You had 8 shots. You found the back of the net twice in that win on Wednesday night. Have you always been a shooter mentality?
Yeah, I think it's kind of just in the way I play, and as I said last night, kind of in the identity of the way the team plays here, but you know, I'm always trying to generate offense, direct pucks towards the net, and you know, I've always said if you don't shoot, you're not going to score. So as much as I can get pucks towards the net, create even a rebound, someone else to score. It's kind of just in the way I play.
Shots is a very interesting statistic when, you know, us media people kind of look at it. You know, sometimes it's not necessarily the quantity, it's more the quality, but it seems like you guys have kind of dabbled into both of that in terms of the quantity and the quality. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, I think we're playing the right way. We're playing inside our opponent. You know, we're getting pucks into high danger scoring areas. You know, as well as directing, you know, pucks from the outside that are, you know, like I said, touching on those second and third chances. So, you know, right now, you know, we got to just stick with it. You know, stay consistent with the way we're playing, and you know, continue on with that.
Looking back to Wednesday night's win, you guys were all over them off the jump. I think shots at one point midway through were about 11-3 or something. Just talk about how you guys were able to come out of the gate so fast on Wednesday.
You know, I think it's been kind of throughout the whole year. We've had good starts, you know, for the most part, and you know, guys are preparing the right way. You know, it's professional hockey. Guys are going to be ready to go from the drop of the puck, and you know, we just got to keep, like I said, another big thing, just consistency with that, and moving forward, I think it's a recipe for success if we start on time.
You mentioned it after the game on Wednesday evening. You've wanted to get that first goal after you had seen the tradition after playing your first game just a couple of weeks ago. 24 seconds into the game, is that your quickest goal to start a game in your career, whether we go back to college, junior, all the way back to the youth hockey days?
Yeah, I think it's got to be up there in the top 3. I think in college I had one that was maybe 18 seconds, but no, it felt really good to kind of, you know, get the fans on their feet early there and get the boys rolling.
We'll get into your career here a little bit, your background. Obviously, you grew up in Canada and British Columbia, but one thing I noticed about your play early on, first couple days here, is your shot. Is that something you worked on as a kid and throughout your days?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, you know, I was always one of those kids, just, you know, shot pucks, whether it be in the backyard, whether it be at the rink, you know, early before practice, after practice, and you know, it's something like you said, it's part of my game, and you know, I got to use it to my assets. So I continue to work on it still to this day.
Growing up, was there a player in particular that you tried to model your game after, and specifically your shot?
Well, being a shooter, interestingly, obviously it's Alex Ovechkin, one of the guys, you know, in the NHL who fires the puck a ton. Another guy like, you know, is Nathan McKinnon, another explosive player, shoots the puck a ton. So I wouldn't necessarily model my game after, but those are two guys as a young kid I looked up to in the NHL.
Give us some insight into terms of practicing shooting growing up. Were you doing it off the ice? Were you doing it on the ice, or maybe a combination of both?
I'd say a little bit of combination of both. I mean, whether I had spare time at home, you know, grab a sheet of plexiglass and, you know, ripping pucks off the neighbor's fence and whatnot, but for the most part, yeah, it's a little bit of both, whether I'm on the ice or in the backyard just fooling around with my younger brother.
Now, were you a guy back in the day, when you're shooting off the ice, would you maybe throw the rollerblades on to maybe model it like you were on skates, or were you just a tennis shoe type of guy?
I was mostly just a shoe guy, you know, until I'd say up till COVID. When COVID hit there, I threw the rollerblades on. There's a sports court down my house there, so I threw the rollerblades on and got the green biscuit out and started shooting around there with my buddies. So, I'd say more of just a tennis shoe kind of guy, but I like to dabble with the rollerblades now.
Keaton Donato, you probably have one of the longest names to don a Steelheads jersey. You've had to have been a headache for equipment managers over the years with that long of a last name, stretching all the way from shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, my family members, they always joke with me whenever I go to a new team, and they see that huge name bar stretching shoulder to shoulder, like you said. So yeah, it's funny, just, you know, looking, whether it be in videos or pictures, just see that long last name on there. But proud to wear it.
Well, I apologize because there certainly has to have been a press release this year where I've maybe mixed up an A, mixed up an O. How many times throughout your days have there been a wrong spelling on your last name?
Not to worry, because it's happened many times with so many vowels in there, a few O's, a couple of A's and whatnot, so you're going to mix it up once in a while. It's not a big deal.
Collectively, looking at the start, obviously you guys are 9-2 to begin this season. You come in as one of few newcomers into a club that has so many returners from last year's historic team. What's it been like getting acclimated into this group?
You know, I was just talking off air there. It's been awesome. Obviously, you know, you get sent down and you get different thoughts going through your head. But, you know, you get here, you get settled in Boise and feels at home. You know, within a couple of days, the guys are great. You know, we got an A-class staff here. Everyone around the arena is awesome. And just to kind of come into a winning culture, as you said, you know, they had that huge season last year and, you know, a lot of returning guys who have kind of taken us younger guys under their wing and, you know, kind of shown us the ropes through pro hockey. So I really appreciate all of that. And again, it just couldn't speak enough of playing in front of these fans in Boise. It's been an awesome time.
Yeah, under an AHL contract with Texas. We'll get into your summer a little bit, the signing process and attending Dallas Stars camps, a couple of them. But, you know, coming to Boise, what had you heard about the city? Did you know much? Any former players that you knew heading in?
Well, I skate a little bit with Murph in the summer, so you know, I've heard a few stories about himself and the team in itself. So just, you know, talking with various guys who have been through the program and guys like Barteau and Wellesley who have had small stints down here, you know, and Remy Poirier, you know, guys like that who have had nothing but good things to say about it. So, you know, I felt, you know, welcoming to come down here and kind of had a sense of what I was walking into. So I was happy with the situation and can't complain so far. It's been awesome.
Earlier here today, we talked about you being a shooter. Wade Murphy's certainly a shooter as well. Did you guys work together on your shot this summer?
Yeah, funny enough, we were in a 4-on-4 league this summer. You know, we battled it out. He actually took us down in the finals.
Okay.
But yeah, no, we work together a lot of the times, you know, various skill sessions. We're out on the ice, you know, maybe once or twice a week together. So it's fun to kind of just pick his brain a little bit, being an older guy too. He's, you know, played overseas already, played in this league. He's been successful in this league. So it's fun to watch a player like that and kind of pick little tidbits from him and, you know, try and better myself as well.
Well, as many Steelheads fans know, Wade Murphy, a great player on the ice, even a greater guy off the ice. It had to be nice to kind of build that chemistry with someone from last year heading into this season.
Yeah, you know, like I said, I didn't know exactly where I was going to end up, but, you know, if I was down here in Boise, I was familiar with a few faces. Like I said, again, you know, Barteau and Poirier, guys I had a little bit of time to spend with in Texas. They'd give me a little bit of heads up of what to expect. So, you know, like I said, it was the biggest thing was comforting to come down here and kind of just go through the whole process of getting sent down. But like I said, I couldn't be happier to be a part of this organization and help this team win right now.
You mentioned some good stories with Wade Murphy, obviously appropriate for the airways, but anything you can share, maybe any insight that fans might know by just watching Murph on the ice?
No, Murph is Murph. I don't know. I don't want to speak too much on it, but he's a great guy, a high-class human, a great character guy, great locker room guy, and obviously a hell of a hockey player.
Well, before we get into growing up in British Columbia, playing junior hockey in the British Columbia Hockey League, and then ending up collegiately at Canisius College in Buffalo, New York, want to start here with this past summer. So you signed an AHL contract with Texas, and you went to a couple of camps with the Dallas Stars. Just tell us a little bit about your summer and how things kind of came to fruition with signing that contract.
Yeah, so I obviously came out of college last year. I ATO'd on a tryout deal down in Texas after my season concluded, and I was lucky enough to get in a couple games down there and experience their playoff run, which was awesome. Got invited to Dallas Stars development camp, went down there in early July and had what I thought a really good camp, and just talking back and forth with GM Scott White and Neil Graham, the head coach, and we were able to work something out, and I was happy to, you know, solidify a contract with that organization, and, you know, something, again, familiar with everyone in the organization, knew a lot of guys returning, so it was good to kind of, you know, solidify that. And then moving forward into the end of the summer, I got to experience NHL main camp with the Stars, and that was awesome. And, you know, one of my highlight moments so far in my career was getting in the preseason game against Colorado Avalanche. So pretty cool, you know, to go up against guys, as I mentioned earlier, Nathan McKinnon, Jonathan Drouin, Rantanen. So it was a cool experience and something I'll cherish forever.
Yeah, the big guns were certainly out in Colorado. Tell us a little bit about some of the players that you got to play along with at the Dallas Stars camp. Obviously, probably a couple that are playing right now in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a ton of great hockey players. Learned a ton from them. One guy I really look up to is BC boy, from Victoria, BC, Jamie Benn, Tyler Sagans, the Miro Heiskanens, Rupe Hintz. So just, the list goes on. They're obviously a super deep club this year, and, they're going to go on a hell of a run this season. So it was awesome just to be surrounded by those players and, be on the ice with them. All the other young prospects that I've gotten really close with over the last couple seasons here. So, yeah, it was a tremendous experience. And like I said, it was awesome to get in that game.
You mentioned signing that tryout with Texas at the end of your collegiate career last year. How valuable was that experience, to kind of get a little flavor of what pro hockey is like heading into your full first pro season?
Yeah, I think it was, an imperial part of my process and my transitioning to pro. I think just getting down there and being a part of something like they had there and going through that playoff run, getting in a couple, regular season games at the end of the season, it was awesome. And like you said, just gives me a little bit of a taste of what pro hockey's all about and got me more familiar and, got to tie those loose ends with people I may have just had phone calls with, but got to meet people face to face and get familiar with more people in the organization.
Keaton Mastrodonato, a native of Powell River, British Columbia. I can say I've never been there. I've never been up to the British Columbia area, but I certainly need to get there. Just tell us a little bit about your background, growing up in British Columbia, any siblings, and just kind of give us a little insight into who you are a little bit.
Yeah, so I grew up, born and raised, Powell River, British Columbia, small town on the west coast of British Columbia, just north of Vancouver. Again, very small town. I grew up, born and raised there. My parents, Jody and Mike, both from there. I got one younger brother, Cohen, 3 years younger than me. So we've been really close growing up too. And he's always been a huge supporter of me, as the rest of my family has been too. So that's been obviously a huge part of this process. And going through my hockey career, very thankful for everyone that's kind of been in my side of the court.
Cohen and Keaton, your parents certainly did a nice job naming you guys. Pretty cool names. Was there a lot of battles on the driveway growing up as little kids, and what's the age difference?
So I'm a 2000 born, he's a 2003. He's 3 years younger than me. Definitely some battles, whether it be some mini sticks in the hallway, baseball, lacrosse, golf, whatever. I think he still has my number in golf, so to this day. He swings them pretty good, but we grew up, pushing each other. Yeah. Lots of battles all over through different sports, playing around the house, but we got along for the most part.
I certainly know the feeling. I have one brother, 3 years older. A couple injuries for us, maybe nothing way too serious. So anything that you can remember back in the day?
Yeah, he gave me some stitches one time. We were really young. We had this tree fort in our backyard. And for some reason, we had these little bricks, like house bricks in there. And I was playing in the sandbox. I was probably 8 or 9. He was probably 5 or 6. Yeah. And just, Hail Married one out of there and cracked me on the top of the head, split me for 6 or 7 stitches on the head. And he felt terrible, obviously, just a young kid. Didn't mean to do it, but yeah, it was probably the best one he got me was with a brick, interestingly enough.
Trying to pull off a little quarterback there.
A little quarterback, yeah.
Let's go back to hockey here. How'd you get into the game, and was it always hockey from the start? Did you always know that you wanted to be a hockey player?
Yeah, I mean, I've played lots of sports growing up, whether it be baseball, lacrosse, hockey, golf, but predominantly hockey. And it's just, I've grown up in a family that hockey's just been the forefront of everything. We billeted Junior A, BCHL, Powell River Kings players growing up ever since I was like 4 or 5 years old. So just being surrounded by that, and at that time it felt like I was looking up to NHLers. They were junior hockey players at the time, but that really drove my passion for the game and strive for myself to make that level and then above and beyond there.
Any players in particular that you guys builded that we might see and circling in the hockey world, or some that kind of had a big influence on your career?
Yeah, I mean, one that's a bit older now but had a huge influence on me was Darcy Oakes, one of our billets. Led the BCHL in scoring, 99 points. We're super close with their family and friends. They visit every summer now, so it's awesome. I definitely looked up to him growing up. He went on to a full-ride scholarship to Quinnipiac University and finished up at Elmira College. So he's a guy I really look up to, just, not only in the hockey world, but just kind of in the lifestyle he's lived and everything he does now with raising his family.
Did your parents have a hockey background, or was it kind of just one of those things where you guys were thrown into it? And you mentioned building those players, or kind of give us some insight there.
Yeah, my parents actually both, are heavily involved in the game, whether it be while I was growing up with coaching. They both actually have helped referee minor hockey. My mom is a big part of the female program in our minor hockey association back in Powell River. My dad's, like I said, heavily involved in reffing, was coaching, volunteers a lot of their time to our home organization. So they do a big part there, and they both play themselves too. My dad still plays men's league. My mom plays women's league still too. So just to have them there too, obviously heavily involved in hockey, it's something to look back on and just show, they show how much they appreciate the sport as well.
I always joke with AJ White. I know his dad now pretty well after last season. And his dad's Whitey's hardest critic, and will always give him some texts after the game. Is your dad kind of the same way?
No, like I said, my parents are super supportive. Yeah. I think they know at this point now, when I know I've had a tough night, and they're going to support me in every single night, and they're always watching, whether it be in person, whether it be on Flow Hockey or whatever streaming site. So no, they're super laid back, and we'll talk. I can bounce things off them. Yeah. They're always going to be there if I want to just vent about something, but. No, they've been awesome, and like I said, a huge part of my success.
Yeah, Whitey's dad's the same way, but if you know Mr. White, you'll understand what I'm saying. But yeah. Looking back to British Columbia, so you played your youth hockey there, and then you played in the British Columbia Hockey League. How did that all come to work out for you?
Yeah, so I moved away actually at a young age. I was 13. I moved away to Victoria for my Western League draft year. I was undrafted there, so I moved on to Major Midget. And in Nanaimo, British Columbia, played 2 seasons there with parts of a 16-year-old season in the BCHL. Alberni Valley was ultimately like one of the spots that kind of gave me that first look at a young age, and I've always been a firm believer of playing where you're wanted. And like I said, they gave me that first opportunity, so I kind of went with it, and it worked out. I was able to obtain a scholarship to Canisius College, and forever grateful for those four years there too in Buffalo.
Let's talk about those 4 years. You go to Buffalo, New York, a place that you maybe had never been before.
Yeah, never been. I've been out to Ontario, to like Niagara Falls area, but never crossed the bridge over to Buffalo, New York.
What was Canisius like for you, your career? Obviously, you had a great 4 years, and I know you guys made the NCAA tournament in your last year.
Yeah, it was awesome. Huge part, of my development in my hockey career. Was able to play a ton of minutes right from my freshman year. Got a lot of opportunity there. Found a lot of success early on. And then, with a huge incoming freshman class for myself, time we got to my 4th season, we kind of knew we were going to be right on the cusp of winning something and having something special. And fortunate enough last year to turn it around in the second half and win an Atlantic Hockey Championship, and then move on to play Minnesota in the NCAA tournament, which was also an incredible experience.
That was probably your greatest memory from your 4 years playing in that NCAA tournament?
Yeah, it's got to be up there, right beside winning that ring on home ice against Holy Cross too. So
I always love talking to you Canadian-born players, and especially ones that go on to the collegiate ranks. Was college hockey something that you always wanted to play, or did you kind of more want to go down the major junior route?
Yeah, I think you kind of said it there a little bit. Like, being a Western Canadian guy, a lot of guys, it's kind of, you look up to the one-all be-all, the Western Hockey League, and you want to get drafted, and there's so much hype around it when you're growing up, and you get to that moment, you either get drafted or you don't, and then there's that decision you got to make. And at that time, I felt like I was like immature for my size and my build, and I needed to work on a lot of things in my game, and I felt like the college route was going to be something that was going to benefit me a lot, just having that extra zone to buffer, and I think it's paid off over the last few years.
And I feel like a lot of players that grow up more on the western side of Canada, if they do come down and play U.S. collegiate hockey, they'll kind of just go completely south and stay a little on the same side of the continent there, but you traveled all the way to Buffalo, New York. Did you have some other options, some other teams or other schools that you were looking at?
Yeah, there was obviously a few different options, but ultimately I went to Buffalo, and again, can't say it enough. They made me at home. I mean, it was somewhere where I felt I was going to play right away, and they gave me that opportunity, and they wanted me to play there. So I felt like when I came on campus, smaller campus, but it felt just like back home, a small little community. Coaching staff was great, super personable. Built those relationships as well as with the high character guys that they brought in. So yeah, it was a no-brainer for me.
Looking ahead to the weekend, the Steelheads will take on the Allen Americans Friday and Saturday night here at the Idaho Central Arena. We mentioned earlier here this evening, you guys are 9-2 heading into the weekend, coming off a big win on Wednesday, 6-2. How do you guys carry the momentum into this weekend?
Just got to stick to the process, stick to, what's working for us right now, the way we want to play. Don't deviate from that. Don't play into the way Allen wants to play. I think we got to play Steelheads hockey, and it's going to make it successful moving into Friday and Saturday.
Lastly here, want to leave it with this one. I believe the nickname's Mastro, but can you confirm that, and maybe some others that have been thrown around to you throughout the years?
Yeah, I've got, for the most part over the last few years, it's just been Mastro, but ever since I got to Dallas, Texas, and now Idaho, I've got a little bit of Mastro, Donatello, Donato, Masty, so kind of bouncing a few different things, but I'm open to everything.
Awesome. Well, Keaton, we appreciate the time, and best of luck here this weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Cam.